Hello there, and welcome to the Perfectly Spoken mini course on phrasal verbs. My name's Andy Nichol, and I'll be the tutor for this course. And in the first lesson, lesson 1, we'll be looking at introducing the concept of phrasal verbs and looking at some everyday phrasal verbs, as well as where we put the object with those phrasal verbs that take an object, transitive verbs. Okay, so without further ado, we'll understand why phrasal verbs are so important in the English language. Native speakers of English use phrasal verbs a lot, so it's very important to learn and understand them. We'll be reviewing, as I said, everyday phrasal verbs, the most common phrasal verbs that we use. And we'll be looking for the different positions for the object in a phrasal verb. As I said, in those phrasal verbs that take an object. Some phrasal verbs are intransitive, such as my car broke down. There's no object here, but we're looking at phrasal verbs that do take an object. Okay, so here's an example of a phrasal verb, to bring back. So what are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs consists of a verb, for example, in bring back, bring is the verb, and a particle. Particle is either a preposition or an adverb. Take a moment and see if you can think of any examples of phrasal verbs. I'm sure if you've studied English for any length of time, you will have come across, it's another phrasal verb, many phrasal verbs. So just take a minute, try to think about it. It's a verb plus a particle, preposition or adverb. Now let's have a look at an example, a context, and see how many phrasal verbs you can spot. So these are instructions for students on exam day. Okay, if you go to take first certificate or PET, the preliminary English test or whatever. Here's the first instruction. If you have a problem during the exam, do not speak but put up your hand. Try to identify the phrasal verb here. Remember, it's a verb plus a preposition or particle. Remember, this is an exam, so all mobile phones must be switched off. You're advised to turn up at least 30 minutes before the exam starts. Fill in your name and candidate number at the top of the answer sheet. The examiner will hand out the question papers at 5 to 9 or 8:55 if you prefer. And if you make a mistake, cross it out and write the correct answer. And use the spare paper provided to work out your answers. And finally, put down your pens at the end of the exam when the examiner tells you to do so. Okay, so again, have a look at these instructions. In each statement there is an example of a phrasal verb. Remember, it's a verb plus a particle, a preposition, or an adverb. And here are the answers. If you have a problem during an exam, do not speak but put up your hand. Raise your hand. Put up your hand. Remember, this is an exam, so all mobile phones must be switched off. You're advised to turn up, to arrive at least 30 minutes before the exam starts. Fill in your name, complete the document, meet the form. Fill in your name and candidate number at the top of the answer sheet. The examiner will distribute the question papers at 8:55 or 5 to 9. If you make a mistake, cross it out and write the correct answer. Put a line through it. Use the spare paper, the extra paper you're given, provided to work out your answers, to try to find a solution or to try to prepare what you're doing. And finally, put down your pen literally on the table when the examiner tells you to do so. The particle when it's the pronoun it. Okay, so that's all for this lesson, this introductory lesson on phrasal verbs. In our next lesson, in lesson 2 on this mini course, we will look at the verb look, phrasal verbs with look, such as look up, look into, and so on, and get to grips with verb, with get, sorry. Lots of phrasal verbs use get, and we'll be looking at these in the next lesson. I hope that you've enjoyed and found this lesson, first lesson on phrasal verbs, useful. Please do tune in to the rest of the course. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.